Hi friends, welcome again to Ideas Unplugged. As I've said before, we talk about different aspects of life, different cultures, and how many people do things in very interesting ways. So here with me is an amazing person I got to know 4 years ago. Her name is Meghna Chatterji, and she's had a very interesting life. Meghna, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, this is Meghna. I'm an architect by profession, and I did my specialization in conservation, architectural conservation. And currently, I am into education. I am taking online classes, students. I'm working in a university, DIT University, and apart from that, that is my profession part. Apart from that, I love music. That is one thing that I guess that keeps me going. And I love all kind of art forms and exploring life, I guess. Yeah, I'm a curious person. I'm like a jack of all, maybe a master of none. But yes, that's how it is.
And I remember the first time I met you, it was at an Unconference in Sardarshahar in Rajasthan. And there were probably 1,000 of us. And around a bonfire, around a fire, you were singing some Bengali baul music. Is that right?
Yeah.
So you're into many different art forms. And what brought you into architecture?
Uh, so I I took PCM, physics, chemistry, maths in my 12th standard. But I always had a creative side to myself. But I was not able to decide. Like I'm just, as I told, like I'm a jack of all. So I was not able to decide what to do. I was like, this, ye bhi acha hai, wo bhi acha hai. So many things are very nice. And then that is probably the reason why I came to architecture, because architecture is a very multidisciplinary course, and it allows me to do like a lot of things. So it's not just about making buildings. It's about learning about the culture, the heritage of a place. It's about the people. It's about understanding the psychology of the people. It's about understanding the societies. It's about understanding the economics. So many things. It's so diverse. The landscape. So I guess, yeah, maybe I was not even aware of that much, that it has such a wide spectrum while I joined the course. But I had this idea that it will give me a wider perspective. So yes, that is how I joined architecture.
Wonderful. And in conservation, did you actually get a chance to do conservation work?
Yes. I was very fortunate that just after completing my yes, I did. And I am very fortunate that I got such good opportunities. And just right after my graduation, I always had this inclination towards conservation. That came very naturally to me. Um, and I had some kind of repulsion towards just just the random commercial architecture that was happening all over, and inclined towards the heritage, the culture, and in general trying to protect and preserve what we already have. So, so after graduation, that was the same year when the disaster in Uttarakhand happened, 2013 disaster. And I got this opportunity as a volunteer. I was unemployed that time. I was looking for jobs, and I wanted a job which suits my kind of inclination, because most of the offices that time I was applying offering me to kind of making concrete buildings and just structures. There was not much thought I felt was going there. So this particular project was a project by Icomos, and it was funded by UNESCO. And it was a 14-day long site visit where we went along the river course throughout, and we had to do a cultural assessment of post the disaster. And it really opened the gateways for me into the field of conservation. So much experience I gained through that journey and that process. And after that, I started working with one of the leading conservation architects of our country, Aishwarya Tipnis Architects. And while working with her, I learned the nitty-gritty of the profession, the field, and I'm, I guess she was very kind to have that kind of trust on me, and she gave me the kind of projects, the kind of work that I got there. One of the very significant projects was that's in Chinsurah, uh, which she was heading, and I was the project architect for that particular project, and it genuinely gave me wings. It gave me wings. I was there. So Chinsurah is a small settlement, 34 kilometers north of Kolkata. It was the Dutch settlement. So started looking at, before that I was looking, while in graduation I was more of looking from the build perspectives, like buildings in isolation. But after my graduation, I started looking as like uh, holistically everything. Yes, and after that I did my consultancy for 3 years with INTACH Sawai Madhopur Chapter, in which I have traveled around 2,000 villages in Rajasthan, the
Wow,
district of.
2,000 villages? And
Yeah,
what did you
yeah,
do in
yeah.
those places?
So uh, we had to list down, we had to document all the heritage, the built as well as the natural heritage. So these villages basically don't even have the basic document, the first document where you can start with. So we built up everything from scratch. So I had a team of mine, very good friends I had, and we built up from. So we used to visit every village one by one, and list down what heritage is existing and what can be useful for, because Rajasthan had this water scarcity issues, and there are
Yes.
so many staples throughout the Rajasthan. I guess people only know very few of them which are famous, like Abhaneri, or in Gujarat as well. There is Rani Ki Vav, the famous ones. But Rajasthan is full of heritage. I saw a completely different side of Rajasthan as well as of a country. Like, because I have always been a very urban bred. I have always was born and brought up in a city, and this was the first time I was exploring the villages, the other side of the country. And yes, yes.
Yeah, I remember I've been to Rajasthan now 4 times, and each time I visited a couple of villages, and every single village I visited had so much to offer.
So
Both
much.
the architecture-wise, they had these havelis, and also
Yes.
the natural places and historical artifacts. And it made me really sad that in India, we don't take care of them and we don't showcase them. Not just as a place of tourism, which is what has happened in
Mm.
the big cities like
True.
Udaipur
True.
and
Very
Bikaner and
true.
all, but as a way
Absolutely
to
agree with that.
appreciate what we have and to teach
Yes.
our
Yes.
children, our next generation also.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Completely. I strongly agree with that. And we don't appreciate it as a resource. It's a, and everyone is trying to imitate something else. Like what they already have is not what they appreciate. Although, if you, while we were exploring it, we were also kind of, mm, investigating it from architectural point of view and from the ecological point of view, all the buildings, all the structures, and every every heritage building is so much intertwined with the ecology, with the nature, way more than compared to the modern buildings that we have today. Because we lost that kind of knowledge system that we had back then. I don't know, maybe it was the colonization which made us imitate something, the West, or I don't know what exactly, it's difficult to pinpoint, but what we had before, even in the floods of Uttarakhand, exactly what we saw is everything that was built before, that's every heritage survived, and everything that was built, in the recent years, that didn't survive because that knowledge system is lost.
It was
And
not
my quest is
ecologically
to,
connected.
yes, and my personal quest is to find out that knowledge system, not just to kind of, in India the approach is just to kind of conserve whatever is there, and just like an artifact, like, keeping it intact, but they're not understanding that what is the knowledge system behind it, where should we build, what kind of material should we be using, what are the construction technologies, and how the planning should be done, which according to which, you can, depending on the climate of the place. So yeah, that is, I guess, the kind of knowledge system that we lost upon.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I was going to ask you something related to that, which is when I visited different places in Rajasthan, I saw a
Yes.
variety of like the food as well as the clothes and the music and the dances are so distinct. Rajasthan is
Yes.
not just one state, it's a huge state. But more
It's a
interestingly,
huge.
the Kalbelia, the Ghumar, there's so many different forms of dance.
So
Kathak.
many.
Did you get a chance to learn those things when you were visiting?
No, I was from morning till night. We were just going round and round through the villages. Never got a chance to learn those things, but I, yeah, definitely aspire to. Although we had a bit of peace in LSUC, in Sardarshahar.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
Salvelia, that was okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I surveyed what was happening around Sardarshahar, and I think I took people out for at least 10 different trips around the city, around Sardarshahar,
Wow.
and we went and explored the Havelis. I
Was
went
it
twice to
beautiful?
Sardarshahar, and in both
So
cases,
beautiful it was.
amazing
Is it?
Havelis.
Yeah. The
We
paintings,
even we even talked to
on the wall.
the painters, the multiple generation of people
Yeah, yeah.
who do the sculpture work, who do the
Exactly,
artwork.
exactly.
Amazing,
Yes,
amazing.
yes.
So,
Amazing,
so how
amazing.
do you pursue your hobbies? You said you're into music and into other things. What kind of music have you learned, and where do you get a chance to, how do you, what have you been up to in
Us.
that area?
So, I'm not a trained musician. My mother is. So she's a doctorate in classical music. And I just happened to, I guess, get it genetically. Maybe I was blessed that way. That I got some bits and pieces from her. And, and I never got the opportunity to really train myself in music because it's really tapasya. I have seen my mom doing that throughout. I mean, she started from when she was so young, 3 years old, and till today. So my journey with music is something that gives me happiness, and I am I just love every kind of music. I don't have particular genres. All good music. Everything that sounds good to my ears, I get inclined towards it. Whether it doesn't depend what the language it is in, and it doesn't depend the genre. Yes, I like classical. I like semi-classical. I like western as well. I like folk music. I can't pinpoint one particular.
So, do you
Yes,
actually sing in many languages?
I sing in 3 languages, and Malayalam. I know a few songs here and there, and
Would you like to sing something for us? Because I remembered you from the bowl songs that you're singing around the campfire, which was amazing. Would you like to sing something for us?
thank you so much. What would you like to listen to?
I don't
Something.
know. I don't know much about it, but I know that you were amazing.
Okay, okay. Let me think. Uh, okay, maybe because I just started. I'm a very amateur ukulele. This I just
Oh, this is
recently
the
got.
ukulele. Okay, great.
Yeah. So maybe I will try something on this. So this is why I'm singing this particular song when you told me, because present scenario, I think this song is quite relevant, and it's about hope, and all we need during this time amidst this pandemic is hope at the end of the day. I will just sing
Yes,
4 lines. I don't know, I'm not practiced and all. I just go about it.
sure. Okay, let's see what you play for us.
Yeah, let's see. आँखों में जैसे कोई तूफान है, थोड़ा सा अब है दिल में जो ईद है गुनगुना लीजिए दिल देखिए yeah
Great, great. So you like to actually have fusion between different languages and different cultures. It looks like, is that right? This
yes
one was a
yes I
Hindi and English song.
actually uh English song okay let me think
I can't hear you very well. You may have to come closer to the laptop. Yeah,
okay I will
yeah,
do that
yeah. Sorry about that.
yeah that's okay that's perfectly fine um should I sing on Bengali
Sure, sure.
yeah okay দেশেতে এসো হলো আবার কোথায় যাই না জানি এই দেশেতে এসো হলো আবার কোথায় যাই না জানি আমি পেয়েছি আমি পেয়েছি জীবন গেল পানি আবার কোথায় যাই না জানি এই দেশেতে এসো হলো আবার কোথায় যাই না জানি
Thank you, thank you. In fact, as you were singing, I just remembered something. In Ahmedabad, Gujarat, there is an amazing architect who not only is rejuvenating the place, but now I believe, from what I remember, they're even creating like live shows about the history of the place, and the history of the place, the music of the place, and everything. So it's like
wow
reenacting, and not just bringing back the architecture and the landscape, but also it's like going back to that era and experiencing what it was like in those days and
wow
connecting
that's
it to
so
the
nice
present time. I'm just
that's
I'm
so
just thinking
beautiful
about that because you have these interests in music and arts and also in architecture and
yes
rejuvenation. So, so do you have any closing words for how during these challenging, interesting times that people are facing? We all are going through this chaos called the pandemic. What can people do? What have you been doing to make the most of this time? And what would you suggest for others?
one thing that uh, one thing that is really I know it in theory before, but I've realized it during this pandemic is to accept the acceptance of whatever is going on. We accept it that the uncertainty of life. If we are able to accept it, I guess everything is going to look way more uh, doable or beautiful. And let's just dance till till we are alive and just celebrating life is what is stuck to me even more so during this pandemic. And keeping what helps me is keeping myself creatively engaged in something or the other. Apart from my online classes, because I'm currently in education, so that takes away a lot of my time. Thankfully, I'm engaged into that. But apart from that, like music or cooking, also cooking has also been very therapeutic for a lot of people, I guess. And sketching, I love sketching bits and pieces. I'm not very good at it, but I try doing it often. and reading. So yes, something that keeps you engaged. This should not go blank completely. And hope and speaking to people also, that makes a lot of difference. I guess what we are doing right now is that. Yeah.
Well, I had no choice. I was in Mexico, so I had to learn Spanish. I had to learn
Yes.
cooking, both Indian and Mexican cooking. I can relate to what you're saying. And of course, I got into live streaming around that time when I realized that it was good to be isolated, but not so isolated that I'd be disconnected from reality for 3 months. So then I
Right,
started
right.
connecting live stream like we are doing now. And right now I'm
Yes,
in
yes.
quarantine in Baroda. So again, so this is my socializing, if you will. So thank you. And do you have any closing words? But thank you for what you're doing. And I hope you are
Thank
able
you so
to
much.
continue along both all these things, music, as well as your architecture and education. And hope you are able to bring it to students as well, what you're doing, all of these things.
Thank you so much. My closing words are that I'm very grateful for this. I have a lot of I feel right now I have so much of gratitude that we are able to do this, and you gave me this opportunity to do this. And it's always so nice speaking to you, just looking at your smile, and this is I'm so grateful and thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. And yeah, hopefully it'll be a great remainder of the pandemic. We don't know how long. And we can learn these lessons can translate into real life as well in other times too.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Thanks again. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.